Okay, so we're going to start with notes for our next unit. It's still technically geometry, but we're going to be talking about formulas, starting with volume. Okay, you need to write these notes in your journal. So find the last page that you wrote on quadrilaterals and turn it to the next blank page and title it volume. Okay, I will be doing a journal check to make sure you wrote everything down that I have. It's either going to be 0 or 100. Okay, and if I can't read your handwriting because you just slapped it on there real fast, it's going to be a 0. So take your time and do it right. Okay? All right, the first thing we're going to talk about is a unit cube. Unit cubes is a cube that has a length, width, and height of 1 unit. A cube has 6 faces that are all congruent, which means same. It has 12 edges. The length of all its edges are equal. Okay? The length of all its edges are equal. Okay, so it would look like this. This is a cube. Okay, front and back are face, that's 2. This side and this side, that's 4. And then top and bottom, that's 6. And then these lines right here are your edges. So draw this on your paper the best you can. Okay, so when you draw it, you're going to make a square. And then find the center and make another square. And then connect. Okay, I don't care if it's perfect. It doesn't matter. But I want you to know that this is the face. Okay, all the sides. These lines are the edges. And that this whole thing is 1 unit. Okay? So best you can. I'm not looking for perfection, just the best you can. All right? So when we talk about unit cubes, count the number of cubes to build each solid figure. So that's all we're doing in each unit cube. This one has 3. 1, 2, 3 cubes. The rectangular prism is made up of 3 unit cubes. Okay, this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 unit cubes. Notice I didn't count the sides because this is part of this 1 cube, right? So you're just counting the front face. All right. Count number 3. How many unit cubes is number 3? All right. You should have gotten 4, 8, 12 is what you should have gotten. Okay. All right. Look at number 4. Number 4 is a little different. It's got 2 sets. This is 1 unit cube right here, right? Well, if you look behind it, there's another cube. Okay. So if I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But then I've got these 3 up here. They have to have something underneath them, correct? Okay, it has to have something to hold it up. So if I have 2 in the front, I have 2 in the back. So that's 4. 2 in the front, 2 in the back. That's another 4. 2 in the front, 2 in the back. That's another 4. 4, 8, 12 unit cubes. Okay? All right. Number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 unit cubes. Okay, how many unit cubes does number 6 have? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, what about number 7? How many unit cubes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unit cubes. Okay, so all you're doing is counting to see how many cubes make up the figure. Okay, all right. Next, volume. This is the next thing you should be writing in your journal. Volume is the measure of the amount of space a solid figure occupies and is measured in cubic units, which is what we just talked about. And each unit cube has a volume of 1 cubic unit. So each cube was 1. Okay. And then the formula for volume is V equals L times W times H, which means volume equals length times the width times the height. Okay? Volume equals length times width times height. All right, so let's look at a few. Okay, so it says each cube is 1 cubic centimeter. So they gave us a measurement here, cubic centimeters. So what we have to do is we have to count how many there are. Or I can take the formula and just multiply. 4 times 4 times 3. So 4 times 4 is 12 times 3 is 36. So the volume would be 36 cubic, because cubic is our answer. And then they gave us a measurement. It's not units. They told us centimeters. So it's cubic centimeters. Okay? So look at number 2. You can do the same thing. You can multiply or you can count on this one. Okay? I know it breaks apart right here. So I know this is one whole set, and there's a whole set behind it that has to match. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if there's 12 right here in the front, there has to be 12 in the back, which gives you 24. Or you can say 3 times 2 is 6, and then 6 times 4 is 24. And what they're saying is there's 1, 2, 3 faces in the front, 1, 2 sides, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 high. So your answer would be 24 cubic, and this time they told us the measurement is inches. All right. So this one says compare the volumes, right? Less than, greater than, or equal. So let's look at it. How would I find the volume of this one? Okay, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you can see that that's 8. That's going to be another 8. That's going to be another 8. And then back here is the last 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 8. Or you can say 4 times 4 times 2. What would you get? Okay, you should have gotten 32 cubic, and then they said it's centimeters. Okay, now look at this one. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's broken here, here, and here. Same thing. You can also say 4 times 4 times 2, which is 32 also, which shows that they were equal. You could have looked, oh, but are they? What's wrong with it? Are they going to be equal? Okay, so they look equal, don't they? But when you look at it, this is centimeters and this is inches. What's bigger, a centimeter or an inch? Okay, you have to look at what's bigger. In this case, an inch is going to be bigger. So 32 cubic inches is going to be way bigger than 32 cubic centimeters. Okay, so just because your numbers are equal does not mean your answer is going to be equal. So you have to slow down and pay attention to what you're doing. Okay, all right. Let's look at another one. Let's look at this one right here. what would the volume of this one be? Okay. Remember, you can count and then keep adding that many times, or you can multiply 3 times 6 times 2. So you can say that there's 3 cubic units, 6 cubic, oh, no, sorry. Those are those problems right there. So 3 times 6 times 2. Okay? Okay, so after you multiplied 3 times 6 times 2, or counted them, you should have gotten 36 unit cubes. Okay? Okay, you can't forget to put either, if it just tells you units, then you're putting unit cubes. If it tells you a measurement, you're putting CUCM, cubic centimeters. Okay, I'm going to show you another way to write it later, but right now we're going to worry about unit cubes. All right, so let's look at a couple more. The length of the rectangular prism is what? What's the length of this one? Okay, there's two ways to look at that. You can look at this is the length, or this is the length. It doesn't matter. Okay, length and width, they're both the same. So you could say the length is 2 and the width is 4. Okay, but the height is the one that's different. That's 5. Okay, all right, so it says the length of the rectangular prism is 2 centimeters. The width is 4. So the area of the base. So when we talk about area is length times width, right? Well, the base of this prism right here, 4 times 2, is 8. Right? So the base is 8. Then it says the height is 5 centimeters. So the volume of the prism is what? Well, area is length times width, right? Another way to do volume can also be base times height, which is exactly the same thing as length times width times height. So they said the length of the rectangular is 2 centimeters, the width is 4. So that means the area is 8 centimeters. The bottom is 8, okay? So now we know that the height is 5 centimeters. So the volume of the prism, all I have to do is take the base, which is 8, and the height, which is 5. 5 times 4. Yeah, no. Sorry. The base is 8, and the height is 5. So 8 times 5, which would be 40 cubic centimeters. Okay? Or you could have just said 2 times 4 times 5. Okay? Now, in all honesty, there is no right or wrong in the order that you solve these. So let's look at number 2. We know volume is length times width times height. Okay, so I'm going to say 4 is the length, 3 is the height, and then 3 is the width, and 3 is the height. You can say 4 times 3 times 3, or you can say 3 times 3 times 4, or 3 times 4 times 3. It doesn't matter. You're going to get the same answer, remember? Okay, so we can flip those numbers any order as long as these are the 3 numbers that you're multiplying. Okay, 4 times 3 is 12, times 3 is 36. 36 cubic feet. Okay, what was the volume for number 3? Length times width times height. What's the volume? Okay, 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 5 is 20 cubic inches. Make sure you're putting cubic inches in your answer. Okay. All right, look at this one. This one doesn't give you any units. It's just a picture. But you're going to do the exact same thing. We know that volume equals length times width times height. So you're going to multiply 2 times 4 times 5. Okay, so what's the answer for number 1? All right, number 2, same thing. Volume equals length times width times height. So multiply length times width times height. And what do you get for number 2? Okay. All right, so for number 1, 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 5 is 40 cubic feet, right? All right, and then on number 2, you should have said length times width times height, 9 times 4 times 4, or 4 times 4 times 9. So I'm going to start with 9 times 4, and you get 36, right? And then you're going to take 36, and you're going to multiply it by 4, and you get 144. So the volume for this rectangular prism is 144 cubic centimeters. Okay? All right, so this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just the start of volume. We're going to get into quite a bit more, and we're going to be doing some activities with the cubes, creating our own models. That way we can just really fully understand. But these are the notes that you needed to get in so that we can just start working. Okay? All right. Make sure that you wrote those notes neatly. Okay? If you look back at it and you can't read it, you need to go back and fix stuff. Okay? That way it is 100% legible.